Hey everybody out there. Today is Monday, actually, the 31st day of October 2022, about 10:08 in the morning. And I'm going to make a different kind of video than I've made before. And this will hopefully help the people with some of these micro gel, or gel coats they call them, and help to try to figure this out. This is my Micro Minnie. And if you look on it, you will see there is definitely a fair amount of oxidation on this thing. Just to give you a little history, I actually worked on both sides of this in August, and I worked for many hours, honestly, trying to get this thing looking good. But you can see, like, look on the door there, you can definitely see some oxidation. You can see some on the sides, but I mean overall, the color looks okay, especially looking at it from these angles. Just want to show you this side. Same thing. I worked many hours on this in August, and again, this is October 31, so keep that in mind. This stuff was done well over 2 months ago. But you can see oxidation on the sides of it in a lot of places. You can see it pretty heavy right there. Definitely heavy there. So anyway, here's my project for the day. So I want to show you this. This obviously is the back of the trailer. And what I'm going to do is I'm finally going to get to work on this and show you. See, this whole thing is completely oxidized. This whole trailer, before I started on it, actually looked like this, or worse. So you can kind of compare. See right there's your side view. This is where I started at, is showing you this side here. And then of course this side here is all the back. So you can tell there is still quite a bit of difference, even though this has been oxidizing for well over 2 months for sure, and it definitely needs it again. But I just want to show you what I've been using and what I've been doing. So let me show you the tools and things I have, and then we'll go from there. All right, let me start with, I've been using the CSI Rip Cut compound here, and to be honest with you, I've used the Meguiar's in the past, and this is supposed to be much better. I can't tell a bit of difference. So honestly, I think any cutting compound that you use is going to work the same. I can't see there's any difference. This over here, you can see is Gelcoat Labs Bauer Vessel Care. You can see it's got a boat on it. It's one-step Gelcoat micro polish and sealant. So I've been using that. So this, of course, is to cut that oxidization off. This is to basically polish it and wax it up all in one step. And again, to be honest with you, I think a better way to do this would be to do a three-step like Meguiar has, where you do the cutting, and then you have one for the polish, and then you have your final one to wax it and to seal it. So, you know, this is okay, but that's that. Let me show you this next. You can see this right here through this plastic bag, that this here is a Chemical Guys cutting pad. It's a 6.5 inch. It faces a 6-inch backing, which that's what I'll have in a second. I'll show you. I've not used this one yet, so I've kind of saved it. Show you what I have been using. Up here, this is the Bauer that I've been using, and this too is a 6.5 inch wool twisted from Lake Country is what I've got there. And so this, you can see, is a Bauer. And this right here, I got this from Harbor Freight. You can see it's a 1918E-B. This was $100, and I got to tell you, it's worked really good. Down here on the speeds, here, let me get this set up so I can show you. You can see it's got this dial here, and this dial goes all the way down here to minimum, which is, I can't remember, not too many, 600 or 700 RPM or something. If you go all the way up to 6, which is the top, that goes up to 3,500. So you can just kind of imagine what goes in between. And I'm usually, you know, I'll start out low, but then I'll work it up to around 3 or 4, sometimes even higher. But, you know, that's kind of my average there, if you will. The other tool that I have is I bought this brush here from the dollar store, I think it was, either Dollar General or Walmart or something. And it's a nice kind of a bristly brush, if you will, a little bit hard. And what you do is after each application, you'll see me do this, is you clean this pad just by rubbing it, and I'll show you that when I use it, because it's, you know, it's been clean for months now. But anyway, so that's that. Now the final one that I have is this Rota here. You can see this random orbital polisher, and you see on it, it's much faster. Its 1 is at 3,000 RPM. Its number 6 is at 7,200 RPM. So you can see it's an RP 803 is the model number. And we gave, I think, I can't remember, I want to say it was somewhere between $50 and $70 for that. And then it takes these little 3-inch little cutting pads is what I have on it. And then finally, let me tell you this. I actually bought these as well. You can see these are called Z-Foul. Little gloves. They're actually bike gloves, but they work great for saving your hands, because the first time I did this back in August, I had no gloves, and I mean, I tore my hands up with these tools here, and I mean tore them up badly. These is the difference between night and day. So get you some kind of a decent glove and work on them. And finally, this one fell on the ground, but you can see I got a stack of these, and I even got more. These little rags here that once you put this stuff on, then you need to wipe it off. So that's what I use to wipe it off with. So I'm going to set this up and we're going to get to work. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm using the little one, the little 3-inch, and you can see I've already dabbed some of this cutting compound on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to work up here. You see that first light over on the left, and then those middle two where there's 3 of them. I'm going to work in that section. So what you do once you put this on there is you have to dab it around, kind of smear it around this area you're going to work in. And I'm using this little one because, of course, that's a little area. That's why I have this, to work in these tighter areas. And then when we get down here at the bottom, I'll be using this one again, but all that in the between, I'll be using the bigger one. So I'll show you that one as well. So just take a look here, and I'll kind of try to help show you what I'm doing. All right, so I'm up here. So let me do it over here, and I'll show you. You just kind of take this and you sort of just stick a little bit in the areas where you want to work at. And so you just take it and you just smear it. So I don't have my tool on. I'm just smearing this around in an area that I'm going to be working in, and because these corners are tight, and I know you can't see this on the video. But now I'm going to turn this on. Trying to lock it. Alright, so I don't know if you can hear my voice over this thing, but you see I just kind of go back and forth. The big key to this is you don't want to stop. You definitely want to keep this tool moving as much as you can. You want to work this compound in here. And some of these places, you can even see it turn white. You just want to work that in until that kind of goes away. And then we'll get a rag and we'll wipe this off. And just walk around these lights here. You can see it shining somewhat. Alright, so now let's grab us a rag here. And then you just wipe this. Just put a little bit of muscle behind it, but it don't take too much. Try to work around my wiper on these lights where I've worked around them too there. So I didn't use as much compound as I thought. But hopefully you can already see a huge difference. And so I'm going to do this other thing. And I'll do it with a time lapse, so this video just don't get forever. But hopefully you can see all that, and you can see there's a fair amount of difference up there. I'm going to raise this up and do a time lapse. Okay, so hopefully you can see that the top of that definitely looks a lot better than the rest of it. It's hard to see the shine from down here. I know that, but you can at least see that it's definitely a deeper red. So what the plan is now is I'm going to continue to use the little one that I've been using and go into these 3 lights to get, in between them and around them and under them. And then just that little section there, and then around that other light on the left, because you can see I got the one on the right here completely done. And I'll go ahead and show you real quick how to wipe the brush off here. But here, you can see this and how that gets kind of dirty there. So I just take my brush and I just start taking it in one direction, knocking off as much stuff as I can, and then I'll take it in the other direction, and then I'll even go just straight down the middle, and it will kind of flip back and forth and around. And then sometimes right here like this to the side as well. And you can see, I mean, it's still dirty, but it's a lot better. This way you get a lot more usage, it seems like, out of these things, and it'll do you a lot better job. That if you let it just keep matting down, then it just won't cut for nothing. So just get you a nice kind of stiff solid brush, just keep it wiped off after each application, and you'll be good to go. Okay, and hopefully you can see that that whole top section up there around the lights and all of that is done. Again, just from down here, it looks redder. Obviously, you can definitely tell the difference between what I've done and what I haven't touched. So you can see it's working. You can't see the shine in this one. Today's very dull. It's nothing but gray and cloudy. And I don't think I said that at the beginning of the video. I have not done this since August, because every day since then it's literally been completely sunny or rainy or cold, or a combination of any of those. And so the back of this sets the sun to the right of this camera. The sun comes up and it comes straight overhead of this camera and sets over there on the left. So this thing sits in the sun all day long. I've needed a cloudy day, and I've literally had to wait until the last day of August to finally get it. So that's the reason that. So now I'm going to switch to the bigger tool there that I got from Harbor Freight. And I don't think I told you that, other that Rota there, I got that off of Amazon, just so you know. I don't get nothing from it if you buy one or anything, so understand that. But it is a good tool. It's been working for me for quite some time now. So I'm going to start on the big one, and we'll get this going much faster, and you'll be able to see it lower here and hopefully see how decent of a job it's doing. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start using that big tool. It's the exact same thing as the little one. So I'm going to do that, and then once we get this done, I'll show you the polish, and we'll go over that with that. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so now that I'm down here on the ground level, I'm going to show you a little bit more of this up close and personal. Got my compound there, don't want to show it too fast. Got my big 6-inch Bauer here. And one thing that I did forget to tell you earlier, this thing is heavy. You work with it for a little while, and I can promise you it will work you pretty hard. But basically, depending on the area I'm working on, I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side again with this. I'm going to work on an area down a foot or so, and over towards the Red Dragon Adventures where it says that at. And so what I'm going to do just to show you here, for that area, I'm going to put 3 kind of dots on here, kind of like that, down in here, and then over here. And then I'll just dab all this on and then work it as normal. So I just wanted to show you this in real time, and I'll show you the working part real time. So hopefully you can see this. So like I say, what I do is I just take it, I just kind of dab it on here in spots like that, and then you just take this thing and just rub it back and forth, getting the area that you're going to be working, and just sort of get this rubbed in. This is just so it doesn't spray all over the place on you, and just get away and get off the surface. All right, so now let's turn this thing on and let's go. See on these corners, I try to press it to the left, get good pressure on that. And I just go back and forth, sort of in a line, and up and down. Try to work this in. And if you can still hear me, I'm just trying to get it to where I can keep the shine. Get all the white marks gone. I just change hands here because this upper part, you can use your opposite hand to really push this into the surface. All right, now just get us a rag. Wipe this off here as best as we can. And overall, this section, I don't believe, looks bad. What about you? I still see some white in there, so I'm going to go ahead and clean the brush, and I'll get that fixed. So let's do that right quick. You see, again, I just use my brush here. I just wipe this down one side, do it on the other. I just kind of go back and forth on the sides here. And see, it just gets all the dust and a lot of the grime off. All right, now this time I'm not going to use near as much of the compound. I'm just going to put a couple of dabs, one there, because there's not near as much to work, so I won't need near as much. And again, you can see, just spread it around good. And then let's just start working it. One final time, let's get a rag and get this wiped off. that's about it. Okay, so you can see, basically looking to bring the color back. And of course, obviously, you know, if you look in here and you look right here, you can see a huge difference. And then what I'm going to do once this whole job is done is go back with that polish / wax that I showed you earlier and go and hopefully it brings out a little bit more shine. But here's the point, from my experience, to be honest with you, it seems to actually dull it down a little bit instead of bring the shine up. That's why I think if you do a separate polisher, then a separate waxer, I think you're going to get your best shine. It's a lot more work, a lot more time, no doubt. But I thought I would try this and just save time, and I found out really didn't save anything. So I'll do the rest of it in time lapse and make this fast. Okay, so now I'm going to finish up the rest of it with a little buffer. So I'm done with the big one. So the areas that you see there that are on the bottom around this light here and all this stuff right in here. It's hard doing a camera. Yeah, from the spare tire up to that area. A little bit underneath the spare tire. You can't see much from here, but I'll get that. And then I'll show you the whole thing, but we'll do this in time lapse as much as I can. I'm down to 31% battery life, and then I'm not even going to try the polish today. So let's get going with that. Okay, so now, is this perfect? It absolutely is not perfect. Let me back you up here a little bit. Get the whole thing into play here so that you can see it. And you can see at least it's a whole lot more red than it was when we started, as hopefully shortly you can tell. To be honest with you, it needs to be gone over again because there's a lot of oxidation on it. So in truth, it needs to be done over again before I ever even think about polishing and all that stuff. So hopefully you find some value in this fairly long video, but I hope that it helps you to see some of the tools that you can use. Oh, and by the way, I'm sure probably a few times you saw where my little wool things came off of that little one, and what it is those are cheap ones, some off-brand ones is all I could find on Amazon, and after a little while the backing comes off of it, so that head will fly off easy. So if you can find better brand names I would say buy them, but if you get the cheap ones, just be aware of that. It'll happen to you frequently. Alright, hope you enjoy this. Give it a thumbs up, like it, share it, do all that good stuff, and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you on the next one.